Welcome back to the Fullcourt Report. Jorie, Justin, Tobe, episode number 27.
Yes, sir.
This is going to be a fun episode, I think. This is going to be a fun one. But before we get into the playoffs, before we get into all the news that happened this past week, there's a lot of stuff that happened. So we have a lot to unpack on this show. But again, before we get into any of that, this past Wednesday, since we found out that LaMelo Ball, Charlotte Hornets rookie LaMelo Ball, would be taking home this year's Rookie of the Year honors, I figured this would be a perfect time to revisit our preseason predictions one last time. And, for those who remember, the three of us, we made predictions for each major award before the season started. And what I did, I went back, took down all our predictions, and tallied up the votes to see which one of us was the most accurate. And the way this scoring system works, for every first place vote, the player or / coach you guys predicted, you guys got 3 points. Every second place vote got you 2 points. And every third place vote got you 1 point. So, all right. I guess we can just get right into it. Coach of the Year, Justin, Tom Thibodeau, Knicks, bringing home the dub in that award.
Yes, sir.
Justin, though, you predicted Doc Rivers as Coach of the Year at the beginning of the season. So that got you 18 points.
Okay.
Toby, Eric Spoelstra, he wasn't even in the voting, so that's a fat L right there, 0 points.
Yep.
And I predicted Monty Williams, who finished second. That's 218 points for myself. I got a pretty big lead already. Next, most improved. Your guy again, Justin, Julius Randle, took home that award. Also, for some of these awards, we gave 2 names. So I just picked the name or the player that finished higher in the voting.
Okay.
So Justin, Lonzo Ball, who finished 19th. He got 1 point. Kobe, you said Christian Wood. That was pretty accurate. He finished 4th. He got you 34 points. And I said SGA, who finished 25th, who also got 1 point.
Thank you.
So not our best predictions there. But you guys started to clean up here now at the Rookie of the Year award. Both of you guys said LaMelo. Obviously, as I just said, he took home that award.
Yes, sir.
So that's 282 points for each of you. And I said Tyrese Halliburton, who finished 3rd behind Anthony Edwards, of course. So that's 105 points for myself. Now moving on to 6th man of the year. Justin, you said Montrezl Harrell, who finished 6th. That's 11 points for you, Justin.
Okay.
Toby, you said Karis LeVert. I mean, that was it could have been a good prediction, but obviously he got traded and became a starter. So he finished with 0 points. And then
I think he would have.
Maybe. Oh yeah, by the way, Jordan Clarkson won that award for anyone who doesn't know. But and then I said Danilo Gallinari, who also didn't finish in any of the voting, so that's 0 points for me. Now these last 2 awards, this was not good for myself. Defensive Player of the Year, Justin, you said Rudy Gobert, so you were spot on.
Yes, sir.
3rd Defensive Player of the Year award, so that's 282 points again for you.
Yes, sir.
Toby, you said Giannis, who finished 5th in the voting. That's 12 points for you. And I said Anthony Davis, who didn't even finish in the voting. Again, 0 points for myself. And lastly, MVP. Justin, you said Joel Embiid, who finished 2nd in the voting. That's 150 points for you. And then Toby and I both said Luka Doncic, who finished
Sure.
6th. And that's just 2 points for me and Tobe. So, final tally. Do any of you want to guess who won? I feel like it's pretty obvious.
Me.
Justin, you finished with 744 points.
Yes, sir.
Toby, you finished with 330 points. I finished with 326 points.
Damn. I blew you clowns out of the water.
It's because of Gobert. You got the Gobert one correct.
Okay, well, obviously I had to pick Gobert. The guy's gonna finish his career as like a 5-time DPOY winner.
Well,
yeah, I can see that.
Those last 2 games in that Clippers Jazz series were pretty hard to watch from Rudy Gobert, I gotta say. Defensively, at least. But
yeah, he did get exposed.
We'll get into all of that. But the biggest topic I think that came from this week was this Bucks Nets series. I mean,
great series.
We gotta just start with this, I think. Toby.
Yeah.
Your Nets. It wasn't your year. That's all I got. It wasn't your year. It's okay. There's always next season.
Well, yeah, I don't even know where to start with this, but and I do apologize if I'm lagging, which I feel like I am a little bit, but it's just hard because like they were this close, literally, because KD's foot was right on the line, was this far away from 3. But I mean, I guess you got to give credit to the Bucks. They made it hard for literally everybody except for KD. No one else could really, kind of find their footing. I mean, we've seen spurts of good games from like Jeff Green, Blake Griffin played. Like, I love him. I love him during the regular season, but this is like the 3rd postseason in a row where he just isn't the same. I don't know if it's the numbers or I don't know, like harder as just like a pure shooter, but just when you're going out there every night, playing as many minutes as you are and just not doing anything. I don't know if there's a future for him on Brooklyn. Because he's just not a playoff player. Like that last shot wide open, like that was his one chance to redeem himself, and of course he bricked it. But I mean, you guys saw the game. There's not really much else to say, so that's all I really got.
I mean, I thought it was a great game. I'm glad that the Bucks won. I'm glad that the Bucks won. But I thought it was a great game. It was, pretty solid officiating. It was a tight game almost the whole game, back and forth almost all game. Went to OT, free basketball. I did like how the crowd was clowning Giannis on the free throws, but after like 3 trips to the line, that got pretty annoying. But
the ref should have called it. Like if they're continuously
the
counting.
The crowd was counting too fast. The crowd was not counting.
Yeah, like, but they counted to 13. Come on.
No, yeah, that's facts though. But yeah, I thought this was a great game. For me, it was a great ending to it. But all I got to say, Toby, is, you got a whole off season for everybody to get healthy. Next season, you're going to have the big 3, I would say at least like 80% of the games next season and probably the whole playoffs. I wouldn't sweat it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not even going to do a victory lap because I think obviously Kyrie Irving got hurt. He hurt his ankle in game 4. And then James Harden said that it wasn't just like some, minor hamstring. It was a grade 2 hamstring injury that he was dealing with during this series, which generally takes like a month to recover from. And he just said, I'm going to play on it. So the fact that he even went out and played is pretty like remarkable. But yeah, it's everyone keeps saying, whoever is the most healthy this playoffs is going to win it all. And that's, again, seems to be the case. Continues to happen. Injuries
Yeah.
continue to play a huge part in this year's postseason. But like you said, Game 7 was incredible.
And I'll say this too. I think it was Bruce or Chris Broussard that said this, but he said availability is the best ability. And that's just so true, especially with this year. But the Nets have to make some offseason moves. I feel like definitely. I mean, if you're gonna have, like, you gotta have a big man. Like, if you're gonna play against Giannis in the East and play against Embiid, there needs to be some sort of paint protection on that team because, like, the Bucks weren't really making their shots from three, at least when they were playing in Brooklyn. And Giannis could have just scored every single time he wanted to, like, in the paint, pretty much. I mean, Blake was doing a pretty okay job, but, like, that's something that the Nets need to focus on this offseason.
I agree. I completely agree. But do you think that possibly your boy Nick Claxton could be the answer? Maybe you just do a little internal improvement, see what Nick Claxton can become.
I still see him coming off the bench, but if he can, like, bulk up, kind of. I mean, he's pretty good defensively. Like, if I'm being honest, he's just too
Muscle.
small. He's got to
muscle.
get some muscle. But yeah, I see him coming off the bench, and I don't really know who, the big man for the Nets is, but
You know who would be a good big man for Brooklyn?
who?
Jared Allen.
Well, I mean, who knows? Who
That's
knows
fact.
if we hadn't traded for Harden, it could be a completely different story. But he would be a great fit. Like, and
I
also,
saw that
yeah.
Spencer Dinwiddie declined his option or whatever, so he's going to become an unrestricted free agent this offseason. Do you think that's concerning?
See him going back, if I'm being completely honest. I don't know. I just get the vibe that, like, he kind of wants out. Like, I think it was like a couple years ago, but he was in some trade rumors, and he was on his Instagram story. He's like, "Which team would you most like, or would you want to see me most at, or something like that?" And that just, like, I don't know if he wants to become a starter. I mean, he is a 6-man candidate off the bench, I feel like, for any team pretty much. But if he leaves, he leaves. We still got Mike James. We still got Cheese. So we'll be chilling.
But again, Game 7. So the first 9 games between the Bucks and the Nets this season, so including the 3 regular season games and then games 1 through 6 in this series, the home team won.
Every single time.
So this is the first game all season that the road team won between these two teams in Game 7. This was also the first overtime game in a Game 7 in 15 years. And Durant scored 48 points, which is the most points ever in a Game 7.
Yes, sir.
And he's also the all-time – he also upped his averages to 36.2 points per game in Game 7s, which is the highest of all time. So it's a pretty historic game that we got to witness. He also played every minute of this game, 53 minutes.
Isn't that back-to-back games that he did that in?
Yeah.
Well,
I don't know if he
did it in Game 5. I don't know if he did it in Game 6.
Yeah, that's what it was.
And then Giannis, on the other hand, he had 40 and 13 in this game.
Okay, Giannis.
Yeah, so. And also, I'm pretty sure the Nets bench didn't score a single point in this game.
No, they didn't. No, they didn't even attempt a field goal attempt.
Yeah.
Like, they didn't even try to score.
That was the first time that's happened since like 1971, I think, in a playoff game or something like that. So I don't know. This was a crazy game. Again, I also think I said this before this series. I thought the winner of this series was going to win the finals. I'm going to stand by that statement. I think the Bucks can win the finals. I really don't know if I believe in the Sixers to beat the Bucks. And then obviously Suns, Clippers. We'll see what happens there, but I don't know. We'll see.
Okay.
Any final thoughts on your Nets, Tobe? Any parting words as
Depth.
they head into the
We need
offseason?
depth. I don't know if we're gonna still have D'Antoni next year, or if he wants a head coaching job, because he can really get one pretty much anywhere he wants. I mean, as long as they don't get injured next year, then I feel like we will be a finals team. But these guys aren't getting any younger, so health is going to be pretty much the number one thing all season. That's
actually, I'll wait to bring this up for the next thing.
All right. Well, our next topic, or our next, before we get into more games, there was like a couple bits of news. First off, there's a great deal of head coaches who lost their jobs or parted ways, as they love to phrase it, with their franchises. This past week, Scott Brooks with the Washington Wizards after 5 seasons, Rick Carlisle after 13 seasons with the Dallas Mavericks, which I think was the third longest tenured coach with a single team behind Greg Popovich and Eric Spoelstra, and he's now out of Dallas. And then Stan Van Gundy with the Pelicans after just 1 season. But my question to you guys is, of these 3 positions, obviously there's some other teams like the Blazers, like the Celtics, that have coaching openings right now. But of these 3 teams, the Wizards, the Mavericks, and the Pelicans, which one is the most enticing? If you were a head coach, where would you want to go?
Well, I think the answer is pretty obvious that being the coach of the Mavericks would be pretty sick. But that's the thing, is if Luka doesn't think you're sick, you're not getting the job. I feel like Luka is probably he might even be in the front office with Mark Cuban and everybody else. Like, yo, I don't like that guy. I don't like that guy. That guy's pretty cool. He's just picking and choosing who he wants. But Toby brought up Mike D'Antoni. Mike D'Antoni as the coach of the Mavericks might be kind of nice.
Oh, wow.
That would
I didn't even think about that.
That would be gross. That would be gross. But I'm gonna disagree with you and say that, or I don't know if this is the most enticing, because the thing about coaching the Pelicans is there's gonna be a lot of pressure on you in your first season, because if you don't make the playoffs, like you're out. You're never getting a coaching job again. And I've also heard reports that Zion might consider like leaving or parting ways because he's unhappy there. I don't know how true those are, but this is going to be like a crucial season for them. And if they don't, I also feel like they have to play well in the playoffs too, at least make it out of the first round. So there's a lot of talent on that team, and they do need to make some moves to get some players, but I would say that's the most interesting position. I would say most coaches would rather coach the Mavericks, but that one kind of interests me.
No, I feel that, because it's like it's a challenge, because this team last year, they were looking lost with Stan Van Gundy. So if you can put them in any kind of direction, I feel like you'll have done your job.
Yeah, I said basically the same thing, Toby. Like New Orleans, that job has whoever gets that job is going to have the most pressure. I think it's probably like Actually, I don't know if I want to say it's the least stable, but like Luka Doncic, they've already made the playoffs twice the past 2 years. And Luka said he still intends to sign his extension this offseason. So like the odds, like you're probably going to be able to have him for like 5 years. And Washington, they don't have a lot of expectations. Pretty much, nobody really cares what the Wizards do. But the Pelicans, I mean, like you said, they have a pretty talented roster. They have an all-star in Brandon Ingram and a superstar player in Zion, but they're losing patience, I feel like, in New Orleans. And I feel like that core of Zion, Ingram, and Lonzo is probably better than what the Mavericks have. Whoever you want to say the second and third best players are in the Mavericks. But I mean, obviously circumstances can change and the Mavericks could get a disgruntled superstar to pair with Luka. But I feel like the Pelicans right now have like the highest ceiling and they just need to find the right coach to help them unlock their potential because I feel like people don't realize how good Zion is
Well,
already.
I agree with you. I agree with you that they need a coach to unlock their potential. But that guy Lonzo might be in New York next season, buddy.
I'm pretty sure I saw a thing though that both Ingram and Zion said that their like favorite player is Lonzo, like on the team, like outside of themselves probably.
Yeah.
I think they said they want to make sure Lonzo is around, for the future. They don't want him to leave. So they might make him a priority this off.
Whack.
Dude, a good choice for coach for the Wizards, I feel like would be Sam Cassell.
Sam
Make you say
Cassell.
that.
Yeah, Sam Cassell.
Why do you say
I don't
that?
really know nothing about that guy.
Just because he used to play in Washington. He's a great guy.
He's also an ugly guy.
Nah, but he's sick though. Like you don't give him his respect. Like
I don't
he's
know
a,
nothing about him. I know he played on the
Isn't
Timberwolves
he an
when he was like
assistant
old
on the
as hell.
Clippers?
yeah, but he's
Isn't
looking
he an
for
assistant for the Clippers?
yeah, I think he's looking for a head coaching job after this season though. So I mean, we'll see how far the Clippers go, but he's like one of the more active coaches on that team, if that's the right way to put it. So I think if he can pick up a few things from Ty Lue, he'll be good.
What about Chauncey Billups? How are we feeling about that guy being a head coach?
I think he's going to get a job. I wouldn't be surprised.
Has he ever been a head coach before?
No, I don't know.
I don't think so.
Not that I know. No, I don't think he has. But I wouldn't be surprised if he landed in like Portland or Boston. I can see him going there.
Boston.
But we'll see.
Him in Portland?
There's so many coaches every year, dude, that their names get thrown out and they're just like, you could see them going a number of places. But yeah, New Orleans, they got to figure this out because I feel like, again, they're just wasting years. I mean, Zion and this whole team is so young, so it's really stupid to say that they're just like wasting years. But like, it's exactly what happened with Anthony Davis. Like, you have one of the best players in the NBA, and yes, he's still so young, but like once his second contract is up, he can just leave, and that's exactly what he did. He went to the Lakers and won a championship in his first season with that team. So you don't want to see that happen again after you just gutted your entire roster to get all these young pieces.
Well,
So,
I saw it was they put up a little graphic on like during one of the Clippers games about teams and organizations that haven't made it to the conference finals, and it was like the Clippers, the Texans from the NFL, and then the Pelicans or the New Orleans organization. Since they've been a team, they've never made it to the conference finals once.
That's terrible.
since and
Well, the Clippers, they ended their streak already, so obviously, so they're
Hornets,
a long
Pelicans,
time.
whatever it is, whatever the New Orleans team is, has not ever made it to the conference finals since they've been a team.
It's pretty crazy.
Wait, so when it was the Jazz, did they make it? When the Jazz played there?
Well, I don't know. I don't know if that counts.
I don't know.
Pistol P, baby.
Why? Is that what they used to be? They used to be the New Orleans Jazz.
Yeah.
When? Like the 40s?
Like the 70s, I think.
Oh, yeah. I don't know if that.
That might be.
Counts. I don't know if they were counting that.
That might be under the Utah franchise. I don't know. That might be the for Utah franchise. Who knows?
Probably.
But yeah, it's crazy, dude. It's crazy that all these coaches are out. We're gonna see a lot of new faces. But another big piece of news that was reported this week, the Boston Celtics, they made a pretty big move. You know, obviously we already know the retirement of Danny Ainge and the promotion of Brad Stevens, but Kemba Walker, he's out of there. He's out of Beantown. He's headed to Oklahoma City. The Thunder, they received Kemba Walker, the number 16 pick in this year's draft, and a 2025 second-round pick for Al Horford, Moses Brown, and a 2023 second-round pick. So how do you guys envision these this trade impacting both teams?
To be honest, I don't really think this trade does really anything for either team because the Celtics didn't really get anything in return. They got old ass Al Horford and that guy Moses Brown, who knows, he could be nice. And then I feel like the Thunder, since they already have Shai, they're probably just gonna trade Kemba or buy him out. So I don't think Kemba is gonna affect either one of these teams.
I think I'll disagree with that. I feel like this I kind of feel like this trade is good for both teams, just because obviously I don't know if Moses Brown, I kind of feel like he's going to be another one of those bench like youngsters that just doesn't get any playing time. But I think it's time for the Celtics to start cashing out on these young players and start building like an actual championship roster. And with getting rid of Kemba, that just frees up a lot of cap space for them. So I feel like that's kind of what they're planning on doing. And as for OKC, they get Kemba obviously. So I don't know if that changes our expectations of them at all. But obviously they get another draft pick, so that's always going to be a dub. And they're just stacked on draft picks right now. So I think it worked out well for both of them. So
I think if the Thunder, I don't know what they're going to do. Who knows what they're going to do? But if they do trade Kemba, they got to finesse whoever they trade him to. They got to get everything they can out of that guy. Every pick, any kind of player, they got to get everything they can.
I feel like he's going to stay.
I mean, that'd be gross. That'd be gross. I'd be so mad if I got traded to OKC.
No, I mean, SGA played alongside Chris Paul and Dennis Schroeder for a year, and that was probably his best season. Well, maybe not his best season, but the best season the team's had since, Russell Westbrook left. But I'm going to read some names, and I want you guys to tell me what these names mean to you. All right? So we have Zaire Smith, Justin Patton, Gershon Yabusele, Lucas Nogueira, Royce White, and Luke Babbitt. What do these names mean to you guys?
Luke Babbitt. Wait, I know Luke Babbitt. That guy used to be in the NBA. That guy was a greaser.
What do you guys think they have in common?
I don't know.
They don't mean anything to me.
These are 6 players who were selected 16th overall in the last 10 drafts.
Nice.
Oh my God.
So I say that to say every time a trade happens, especially with the Thunder as of late, everyone loses their mind when they get a first round pick. But when those picks become actual names, no one cares anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, at a certain point, I feel like teams that have an abundance of draft picks aren't always in a great position to succeed. Like, it's great that the Thunder have a bunch of first rounders and a bunch of, picks in the upcoming drafts, but they don't always turn into something valuable. And it's just like theoretically they look great in trades, but then they become a name and then they're just like, all right, who cares? That guy might play like 2 seasons in the league.
I mean,
So,
with all those picks that they have, if they don't hit on at least one of them for an all-star at the minimum, like what is Sam Presti might be a clown. Like, yeah, you can get all these trades to get these picks, but then you make the pick and it's trash. Like, he's got to hit.
I would have to like review all their picks, but I feel like the pick that's most valuable is their own that they have this season because of how bad they finished. Like they have a real chance of getting like the top pick in this year's draft.
I heard that they have a chance of getting the number 1 and number 3 pick somehow.
Yeah,
like if
because I
everything
think
falls in the line.
their trade with the Houston Rockets, I believe, they got a first round pick, and obviously the Rockets. I think if they finish outside, if the Rockets pick falls like outside of top 4, I think, then it goes to the Thunder. So they could literally have like 2 top 5 picks, really.
Damn.
This
That
year.
would be sick. That would be sick.
And then, but then, like at a certain point, then all those other picks that they just traded for are basically worthless because, like, you're not gonna make that many first round selections when you have someone like SGA already, and then someone you could draft potentially like Cade Cunningham and like Jalen Green or Jonathan Kuminga or someone. Like, you're not gonna just keep taking all
I
these players.
disagree.
Like, you don't need all of those. Like, you can't develop all of them.
Let's say they do draft Cade Cunningham. Let's say they draft him, and then whoever else at the 4 or 5 pick. They got all those picks and all that cap space to literally go after whoever they want. If any one of these clown ass players is like, yeah, you know what? Let's go to OKC and see what it's about over there.
I think with those draft picks, they can, if they don't decide to use them, they can always trade them for role players to surround whatever kind of star that they hopefully draft. I feel like it's better to set yourself up with draft picks, even if you're like the Kings and you're like a shitty drafting team, than like to just try to go for good players when you know you don't have a chance of winning. So I like what OKC is doing.
I understand what Jorie's saying though, because like at a certain point, you're not gonna know what to do with these picks. It's gonna be your turn in the draft, and you're gonna be like, I don't care who we pick, just give us somebody.
True.
It's like, and then I think that it's funny that the Boston made this trade because like of all the teams, I feel like they know the best that like first round selections, like having a bunch of them don't really mean anything. Like they hit on Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, obviously, but then you look at the rest of their selections in the first round. Like, I mean, they took Romeo Langford. They have Peyton Pritchard. I think Robert Williams was a first round pick. Aaron Nesmith. Like, they're not bad players, but like, what are they really doing for you? Like, I don't know. It's just, I feel like having so many is just like a waste because you can't develop.
I hate how the Celtics don't play Romeo Langford because that guy would literally be dirty. They just don't ever let him get in.
Well, with Kemba Walker no longer being on the roster, maybe he gets more minutes. But I kind of want to talk about the Boston side of things because I feel like this is a win for Boston. Everyone views it as a win for the Thunder, but like financially, Toby, you mentioned it. It's a win for Boston. Kemba, who's 31 years old, who missed 16 games in the 2019-20 season and 29 games last year with knee issues, is going to earn about $74 million over the next 2 years. Like, I don't think Boston wanted to pay him that. So instead, they trade for Al Horford and Moses Brown. Horford is only guaranteed $41 million over the next 2 years, and Moses Brown is only has like $5 million on his contract left. So like they traded Kemba for like two players that are like almost $20 million cheaper. And then, Al Horford, like, he's probably not going to start, but he's not nearly as bad as I feel like people think he he is. Like, after leaving Boston in 2019, he went to the Sixers, and if you remember, like, he had to play next to Joel Embiid, and that was just like a weird fit always. Like, you can't have those two centers playing together. But when he played without Embiid on the Sixers, the Philly, they had a plus 4.4 net rating, or they were 4.4 points better than their opponents when it was just Horford on the floor. And then last season, when he was playing with the Thunder, it was plus 6.1. And then they were like, actually, we're winning too much. So we're just going to rest you for the rest of the season. He was literally healthy. And they're like, no, you're not going to play anymore. And they just benched him for the entire season. So he basically is coming off a season and playing like, no games. Like, he's going to be basically fully healthy, and he's still an impactful player, and he's probably not even going to be your starter. And then Moses Brown is just another like flyer player that they took a chance on, who actually in a game against the Celtics this year had 21 points and 23 rebounds. And he also had a 24 point, 18 rebound, 7 block game against the Lakers.
Oh my God. Okay,
like, he's just like you never know with that guy. But I think the best thing that could come of this is Marcus Smart just being their starting point guard, which is something that I think could work, because I don't think Kemba is really like that playmaking floor general point guard that everyone might think he's more of a scoring point guard. That's always what he's been. And he's undersized. So now you have more size in your backcourt, because it's now going to be Marcus Smart and Jaylen Brown, most likely. He can shoot. He's a good 3-point shooter. And if you guys remember, like, assist percentage, something that I brought up when I was mentioning like Jokic's MVP case, which is it's essentially just the percentage of his of shots a player assisted on. Marcus Smart's was 23.6 and Kemba's was 23.8. So it really is like no different at all, like, between those two players. I feel like Boston moving him to the 1, it's really going to help their team, I feel like. But I don't know. I'm excited to see what Boston can do. I feel like the biggest thing now is just finding the right head coach,
Yeah,
because they have the talent.
I think a good coach for Boston. I actually think Chauncey Billups would be a great coach for Boston. I think Chauncey Billups would bring out any kind of inner dog that Jason Tatum hasn't already released.
You think so?
I really do. I think because they call him Mr. Big Shot, and so far Jason Tatum's been hitting some pretty big shots. So maybe he could take the throne of Mr. Big Shot.
I like that. Chauncey Billups. I can see that. I did hear never mind. Yep.
What? All right. Yeah, I guess that'll wrap up our Celtics talk. Now moving on to the playoffs, or back to the playoffs. 2 major bits of injury news were reported yesterday that will inevitably have major implications on this year's Western Conference Finals. And we obviously know the conference finals in the West is Clippers Suns. But Clipper star Kawhi Leonard, who missed the last 2 games of the Jazz Clipper series, is going to remain out for both games 1 and 2, so the games in Phoenix, in effort to rehab his injured knee. And then star point guard Chris Paul is going to miss game 1, which is tonight, We're recording this on a Sunday because of COVID-19 protocols. So obviously, both of those players are very crucial to what those teams do. But who do you guys think's whose absence is going to be more prevalent in the Western Conference Finals, Kawhi or CP3?
I'll let you go first.
I think this one depends on how long is Kawhi going to be out for, and if he comes back, is he going to be the same kind of player? Because honestly, I feel like the Clippers can steal Game 1, especially with Chris Paul out. They're going to need another crazy performance from a Terrence Mann or Reggie Jackson or, all three of those players. But I feel like if Kawhi can come back for Game 3 when they're back in LA and they can win both of their home games, then the Clippers will win the series. So, again, it depends because obviously if the Suns win this game, the Chris Paul injury doesn't matter. So this game depends on it. And also, again, how long is Kawhi going to be out for?
What do you think, Justin?
I think that the Kawhi injury hinders LA more. One, because he's going to be out more games, and it is an actual injury. So he's going to come back. He might, like what Toby said, he might not be 100% himself. CP3 might not be either, but, it's to a lesser extent. But I also think that the Suns team without CP3 is better than the Clippers team without Kawhi. I think the Suns are more experienced and they have, they just have better players.
Really?
Surrounding.
You think they're more experienced?
I do think so. Yeah, I think they are. Because who do the
In
Clippers
what
have?
way?
Who do the Clippers have? They got Paul.
I mean,
George.
the Suns are half their starting lineup. This is their first playoffs ever. Devin Booker, DeAndre Ayton, Mikal
They got
Bridges,
that guy,
Cam Johnson.
Jay Crowder. They got that guy, Jay Crowder.
No.
But no.
Oh.
Just hear me out. The Clippers, they got Reggie Jackson, who I guess has been playing pretty okay for the playoffs. They have Marcus Morris, and then they have Pat Beverly, who he's going to put up 10 points. Other than that, scrubs. It's basically scrubs. Terrence Mann had a nice game, whoop-de-doo, one nice game. Won't do it again. Luke Kennard stinks. Zubac. Okay, no, Zubac is nice. And then other than that, I can't even name anybody else on the team. I really can't name anybody else on the team. I don't know. I think the Suns have it in the bag.
Well, I'm gonna have to disagree with you. I'm gonna have to disagree. I think Chris Paul's absence is gonna be more apparent than Kawhi's absence, mainly because the Clippers have already played 2 games without Kawhi, and they won both of those games.
Yeah.
But I just feel I think Kawhi is definitively a better player than Chris Paul right now. But I feel like Chris Paul's impact is just harder to replace because the Clippers have players capable wings, 3-and-D wings, who can score, who can defend, like Kawhi. Obviously not at his level, but I don't think the Suns have anybody that can do what Chris Paul does, which is essentially get into the heart of their defense, literally knock down every mid-range shot that he gets, make it easier for Devin Booker and DeAndre Ayton to get open looks.
They have campaign.
Just run their
offense.
offense.
Campaign, bro.
I don't know. Yeah, but he's also I don't know if he's really. I'm not saying he's bad, but he just doesn't do what Chris Paul does in the sense that he just takes the pressure off of the offense and makes it easy.
Cameron Payne he's been playing pretty well in the playoffs, if I do say so myself.
Yeah, he has impressed me.
He's
he's
like
playing.
he's playing good basketball. He's not making a lot of mistakes. He's, he's controlling the flow of the offense. He's doing I thought he was doing a pretty good job.
But Clippers are going to win game 1. And that's why I sort of feel like the Chris Paul injury will be more impactful, because if they can steal game 1 at home, or away, like in Phoenix, then I honestly feel like they can win the series if Kawhi comes back and he's, still playing as well as he has been.
Do you think if they split the first 2 games, Clippers win 1, Suns win 1, do you think they would have like less of a sense of urgency to rush back Kawhi in games 3 and 4 rather than if they were down 2-0? You know what I mean? Because if you're down 2-0 and you lose game 3, then the series is over. But if you're tied at 1-1, you can have you have more more of a leeway to say, you know what, take one more game off.
I don't know. I don't know if I chance it, because if he's ready to go, if he tells me I'm ready to go, play me, I'm not I'm playing him. Even if he's I'm only 75%, but I'll play, I'm playing him. This is the conference finals. I don't got no time to chance it.
Yeah, I agree.
Dude, Kawhi is the funniest guy, dude. It's really, that guy is hilarious. I saw one thing. He was getting interviewed maybe before or after a game, and they were asking him what would it mean for the Clippers to get to the conference finals? He's like, I don't really care about a conference finals. I'm trying to win a championship. It's doesn't care about anything. And then
somebody was in the tunnel.
Oh yeah. He was walking to. He's like, Kawhi, can I get an autograph or can I get a picture? He's like, yeah, I got to go shoot around.
Yeah.
Freaking Kawhi, dude. He's hilarious.
But yeah, no. Let me. I got something to say about this Suns and the Clippers. Look, I know LA just won back-to-back games against the best team in the league, but I've been trying to say the Suns are a better team. The Suns have been a better team than the Jazz all season. I don't care. I've been saying it. Even if both Kawhi and CP3 were healthy, this series is just going to be tougher in general for LA. So the fact that they're missing Kawhi is this is a different team. Even without CP3, this is a different team than the Jazz. So I don't know. If I do agree, if LA wins tonight, I think they'll win the series. But I don't think they're going to win tonight. I don't think they're going to win even one game in Phoenix. I don't think they're going to win if it goes 6, 7, however many games it goes. I don't think they win in Phoenix, if we're being honest.
You want to put some money on that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I agree.
We can discuss the financials after.
I already have a bet with Jay Brown for the Hawks Sixers game tonight.
On who?
How about I tell you when we talk about it?
Okay. Why not? Why don't you tell me right now?
Before we get to Sixers Hawks, I'll just say this one last thing about. I feel like you're right though, Justin. Is that I think the Jazz got exposed as a team that is one-dimensional. The Clippers basically just went small and played, Nick Batum at the 5, basically.
Yeah.
And they had no answer for it. They were like, well, we're just going to stick to what we know, play Rudy Gobert. And he obviously, he's good at defending the rim, but you can't have him running out trying to contest threes.
Yeah.
And that's what happened. They lost 2 straight games and they just didn't adjust. So I think the Suns are probably going to be harder to do that against because they have players that can defend the Clippers small ball lineup.
Yeah, if they pull that move, Jay Crowder at the 5, you're not doing nothing.
Yeah, they have Jay Crowder, Cam Johnson, Mikal Bridges. They have a bunch of wings that can match
defensive arsenal.
But at the same time, I feel like I feel like the Suns don't have as many players that like the Jazz could just throw out there and they would just get buckets. Like Jordan Clarkson coming off the bench, pretty sure he's scored like 17 straight at one point for the Jazz.
Yeah.
So like that's something that at least defensively they won't have to worry about this series, I feel like.
Yeah, I agree. The Jazz, their offense is scary because obviously Donovan Mitchell, but then Bohan, that guy gets hot. He's going to do what he does. Joe Ingles, he's a whapper. Jordan Clarkson, he's going to give you 15 at least off the bench. But, yeah, I don't know. Besides Devin Booker and DeAndre Ayton, like, the Suns have guys that can score, but it's like, wide open three might make it, might not. Might be able to take it to rack if it's wide open.
I think game 1 is going to be super crucial for whoever
Yeah.
wins the series. Like, this is going to be huge because they're probably going to be healthy the rest of the way. Well, maybe. I don't know if Kawhi is really going to be healthy, but we'll see. All right. Lastly, Justin, you mentioned this Sixers-Hawks. Game 7 is tonight, or this afternoon, I guess. It's in like 4 hours. I mean, what are your guys' predictions for this? Well, actually, no, it's tonight. The Clippers-Suns game is in 4 hours. Yeah, so I was right. The Hawks-Sixers is at 8 o'clock, so. It's game 7. I don't think anyone expected Atlanta to be in this position, a position to reach the conference finals, 1 game away from the conference finals. I don't think anyone expected that, but what's going to happen tonight? Are the Sixers going to handle business? Can the Hawks pull off the upset? What do you guys think?
My gut is telling me Ice Tray is going to end it in Philly tonight. But disclaimer, that being said, Philly's probably going to win in the blowout. Since I'm the one saying I think my gut is telling me the Hawks are going to win, Philly's probably going to win. So take that with a grain of salt.
Yeah, Philly's winning this one. They're at home. Ice Trey's going to give them some problems, and I think it's going to be a close game, but I just don't see Philly – like they're going to be playing with a sense of urgency the entire time, I feel like more than the Hawks, just because we have more expectations for Philly to win. So when it comes to crunch time, I expect them to take care of the Hawks. Take this dub. And I also feel like,
even though I did say Doc Rivers would be coach of the year, that guy is an all-time choker. That guy is an all-time choker. So
no, you're right. He I'm pretty sure there was like a stat that he has like 5 or wait, let me I think it was like
I think I know what you're talking about.
Well, there was like 1 of blown leads. He has like 3 or like 5 of like the largest blown leads of the last 2 postseasons. Yeah. But also, I'm pretty sure teams that were up by at least 16 points in a playoff game were like 76-3, and teams coached by Doc Rivers were like 11-5. So like, he literally has like more losses than every other team in the entire league combined.
Yeah.
Just like crazy. But I still feel like the Sixers are going to win. The Hawks already won 2 games in Philly. Like if the Sixers lose 3 of their 4 home games in the series, I will be very shocked. Right. But I just feel like that this isn't – I feel like if the Sixers lose this game, dude, like I don't know what to say. Like they should not lose this game. Like they really should.
My gut is telling me Ice Trey the gang. He's going to end it in Philly. But like I said, since I'm the Charles Barkley of our group, it's probably going to be a blowout and Philly's probably going to win.
Well, can we talk about this? If Philly wins, can they beat Milwaukee?
They can. I don't know if they will.
I think they can. I honestly think I think the Bucks will win, but I feel like Philly can win. You know what I mean?
If it's Bucks Phillies or Bucks Phillies, if it's Bucks Philly, That's going to be a great series. I hope that's another 7-game series.
The thing is, though, like I feel like the Bucks struggled against the Nets because they have Kevin Durant, and he's just like the greatest scorer ever. Whereas like the Sixers are like barely winning games with like Seth Curry as their second best player. Like I feel like Drew Holiday sees that and he's like, "There's absolutely no way Seth Curry is putting up 20 points a game on me."
Yeah.
I think it's
Like,
different
I
though
don't know.
because Nets were just going like small pretty much with everybody besides KD, and this is like a different dynamic where Giannis isn't going to be the biggest guy on the court. He's going to have to be guarding, 7 foot whatever Embiid, and it's just going to be like a whole different challenge.
Well, I also feel like their perimeter defenders are going to be like, it's going to be way easier on them because Ben Simmons takes like 5 shots a game and can't shoot. Like, I don't know. I just feel like it'll be an easier matchup. Obviously, Embiid is going to be an issue. He always is. But like everyone else,
Brooke Lopez is going to shut down Embiid.
okay, I don't know about that, but I feel like it's just going to be an easier defensive series for the Bucks. I think they're going to have a harder time on offense because you have Ben Simmons who can defend. Who can defend Giannis.
I disagree. I
completely
Really?
agree with you.
Because I mean the Bucks were struggling on offense versus the Nets. Like,
okay, well then the Sixers. I mean that the Sixers are just a better defensive team, though.
exactly.
Like, it would be.
Exactly.
That's what I'm saying. It's going to be a harder series for Milwaukee on offense than it is on defense.
Okay.
Is what I'm saying. Like I just feel like
I agree with that.
I agree with that. Defensively pretty well, but offensively they're going to probably struggle. But
that's where I disagree, though. They're gonna have a harder time guarding the Sixers than they did the Nets, because the Nets they really just had to focus on KD and Harden shooting threes, and like the rest of the guys were just missing shots everywhere. I don't see that happening with the role players that the Sixers got.
I somewhat agree, but not really, because I feel like besides Embiid and Tobias Harris, Seth Curry is not putting up like even close to 20 a game on any other team other than the Hawks. Like
they don't need him to, though. They just need him to.
Oh yeah, I know.
And Embiid is going to be
scoring the most. I'm pretty sure he's shooting like
doing nothing. Tobias Harris and Joel Embiid are the only 2 people that I would be worried about.
I think the Bucks. Well, again, we'll see if the Hawks win. I don't know. The Hawks can win. If the Hawks win, then that would just be crazy. But I feel like the Bucks have to get to the finals. At least get to the finals, let alone win. They should probably win, regardless of who comes out of the West. But if they don't get to at least the finals, then this is a wasted season. And I feel like they should fire Mike Budenholzer.
Yep. Yes.
Because they literally got through their matchup from last year, who gave them issues. They swept the Heat, and then probably the best. I mean, obviously they were injured and hampered, but like the Nets were probably the toughest team that they would have to face. So if they can't beat the Sixers or Hawks, and then whoever comes out the West, this was a wasted season. I think this is definitely like the best opportunity Giannis will have to win a ring. Like probably
at least
ever
on the Bucks.
Career. Ever?
That I mean,
I don't know. I don't know because I
can't think of any other. Like, next year, it's going to be tough. The Nets are going to be healthy, probably.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. I feel like this is his year.
I feel like if he doesn't win anything on this contract in Milwaukee, obviously he's out of there. He's not staying. And I think when he leaves, he's going to go somewhere where it's no doubt that team is winning the championship year 1.
Yeah. And I feel like if they play the healthy Clippers, like if the Clippers are healthy and they have Kawhi and they play them in the finals, I got the Clippers in the series.
Great series. That'll be great.
Kawhi versus Giannis again.
All these, I feel like no matter what series we see, it's going to be a good series. Like, because I mean, yeah, like all 5 teams left are like good teams. So like,
Can you imagine, like, at the beginning of the year, like telling someone like the last remaining teams are going to be the Bucks, Suns, Clippers, and whoever else, and Hawks or Sixers? Like, I don't think anyone would have said that.
yeah,
Everyone would have had at
no,
least the
yeah, I
Lakers
would
and
have
Nets in there.
definitely not predicted that.
And then the way the Jazz played all season, probably somebody would have said the Jazz. But like, I don't know. It's just like crazy.
Especially the Suns. Like, I did not think the Suns were gonna get this far. So
Suns also got a little
the
lucky.
Suns have literally been better than the Jazz since day one of the season.
They also got a little lucky, with the Lakers getting hurt and the Nuggets being hurt. But
Yeah, I guess.
that's how it goes sometimes. That's it's generally you can't
That's how the
always
cookie
just be a good
crumbles,
team.
as
You always
Shaq
gotta
said.
have some. You always got to have some luck involved. That's generally how you get to the finals. But all right, is that it? Is that any other things you guys want to mention? This time next week we'll probably be like halfway through both the conference final series.
yes, sir.
We'll be
Nets-
even closer to the NBA finals.
If the Nets
Also,
have
I
a
think
healthy- Yeah.
next week, well, actually on Tuesday, is the NBA draft lottery. So we'll know the order of the draft on Tuesday, and we'll talk about that as well. We'll see who has the top pick.
Okay, yeah, perfect.
All right.
See who the Knicks are projected to draft.
Well, you won't have a lottery pick this year, right? No, you won't. Unfortunately, it's different
Rip.
year. All right. Well, I guess that's it. Until next week. From myself, Jorie Mickens, and my two co-hosts, Justin Sadovi and Chris Tobias, thank you so much for listening to that episode of the Full Court Report NBA show. Be sure to follow us on Twitter at FullCReport, on Instagram at the.fullcourt.report. Like and comment on this video and subscribe so you never miss a minute of action.